Dog worshippers will never take responsibility, but they love to lay the blame. They lay the blame on two different groups. They lay the blame on victims. They lay the blame on other dog owners. Why do they lay the blame on these two groups? They do it to feed their delusions about dogs being loving, innocent, gentle creatures that care for us and protect our children. Unfortunately for both them and us, the truth and facts get in the way. Dogs kill, dogs maul, dogs disable, and dogs disfigure humans. They do the same things to other dogs and to other animals. Dogs destroy property, they cause accidents, they frighten people, they stress people, and keep them awake at night with their barking. They cause and spread diseases. They pollute our environment. I have covered all of these dog problems in previous videos and in some depth, and now I want to look in more detail at the belief system that claims dogs are not to be blamed for their natural behavior. When I read a story of yet another child killed or disabled or disfigured by a dog attack, I reach the obvious conclusion that the dog in each case is behaving according to its nature. The dog worshipper will come to the conclusion that the dog is acting against its nature and must have been provoked in some way. Here I have to pause for a second and make something quite clear. Not all dog owners believe in the idea that dogs are born innocent and pure and are a blank canvas for the owner to paint on. One of the difficulties in researching my videos is that I do come across a variety of opinions and behaviors among dog owners. Not all are alike. In this video, I am addressing the dog-worshipping extremists who ignore truth, ignore facts, and ignore evidence. I am addressing the type of people who will make up stories and tell lies to defend dogs at all costs. The type of people who will make up the story that a 4-year-old boy in Utah put a sock puppet on his arm and antagonized the neighbor's dog, implying that the child deserved to have his arm bitten off. People who put dogs above everything and value the life and reputation of a dog above a human are deeply disturbed people. They like to refer to a group that they call responsible dog owners and include themselves in that group. I have argued many times before that there is no such thing as a responsible dog owner, in the sense that looking after a dog's welfare shows responsibility towards the dog, but not towards society. People who defend a dog that killed a child are not responsible in any way. They are not average dog owners, nor are they part of a majority of dog owners. They are loud-mouthed, disturbed people who make a lot of noise and prevent any rational, mature debate on the subject of dogs. I would like to ignore them and their stupid ideas, but they appear to direct and control the debate and stifle any opinions but their own. Here is what a columnist on the website Awesome Dogs had to say about the blame game. Quote, "Remember that the dog versus owner blame game is a false dilemma. Dog aggression is a complex question. Don't be so quick to judge and blame, whether it be the dog, owner, and especially the breed. There's a full history there that can and should be explored to find out what really happened." End quote. I do not agree with the part of the comment about the breed. Having concerns and fears about a specific breed is not just a case of prejudging and stigmatizing one breed of dog. Any breed of dog characterized by a large size, muscular power, and bite strength is much more dangerous than a breed of dog characterized by a small size and little power. It is prudent and life-preserving to be cautious around a large breed of dog. If something does go wrong, your chances of coming out of an encounter unscathed are pretty low. While the comment from Awesome Dogs does veer towards an anti-BSL stance, it does illustrate my point that there are a variety of opinions out there. The article was written in 2013, and I still get dog worshippers making comments about blame the owner, not the dog, or it's the way that they are trained. While there are differences in opinion, those arguing for more complex interpretations don't appear to be particularly influential or effective, having had little or no effect over the last 7 years. I have spoken at some length about victim blaming in a number of my previous videos. All you have to do is wait for the next serious mauling or killing of a child by a dog, and read the comments from dog worshippers. I am not going to quote any of these types of comments because they are so devoid of rationality, logic, and compassion to defy imagination. What I will invite you to do is to read some of these comments for yourself and then consider the phrase, "It's the way you train them." People who blame children for dog attacks are the same people who will tell us that it's the way you train them. Would you seriously trust people who are so psychologically disabled to properly train their dogs and then take the responsibility for that training? Even expecting every average citizen to gain the knowledge and then put the time in to properly train a dog is a big ask. Victim blaming in dog attacks is based on the idea that dogs are, by their nature, placid, gentle, and loving. If they attack, then they must have been provoked, because it is not in their nature to be spontaneously aggressive. If this is the case, why do they need to be trained to make them safe around humans? It doesn't make any sense. If indeed it is all down to the way you train them, then the majority of dog owners are not up to the task and can't be relied on to keep society safe. The range of magazine articles, websites, and TV programs about dealing with difficult dogs shows us clearly that training dogs properly is never going to be a solution to the problems that dogs cause. The argument that it is how you train them is an argument against universal dog ownership. By this argument, only a small elite should be dog owners. Only people who have the time, money, fortitude, and skills to properly train a dog should be allowed to own them. It's a poorly thought out argument intended to divert blame of any kind away from dogs. Since the argument is based on faulty thinking about the nature of dog behavior, then we cannot expect it to be very sophisticated or to have been properly thought through. Because they believe that dogs have human qualities or are equivalent to humans, they believe that explanations for human behavior and psychosocial development apply to dogs. I have discussed the nature versus nurture debate before. A further point to ponder before I move on is why aren't dog worshippers and their organizations campaigning for dog licenses, mandatory screening of prospective dog owners, and compulsory education of owners before they are allowed to buy a dog? If they truly believe that socially acceptable dog behavior is dependent on proper training of dogs, then they should want to ensure that a system of training is in place for all dog buyers. They should be advocating to ensure that funding, monitoring, and policing of such a scheme is robust. But they are not. They are only interested in inventing any old excuse to make sure that dogs get a free pass as far as their nuisance behavior is concerned. Defending dog attacks by blaming the victim is disgusting and reprehensible. The only exception to that is if the victim has been abusing the dog and it has had to defend itself. That exception is a rarity. Owner blaming often picks up on the abuse card as a way of getting dog nature off the hook. The explanation for the dog attack is that the dog must have been mistreated, either by the present owner or by some unknown owner in the past. It's the opposite of the scientific method again. The scientific method develops theories based on observations. The dog worshipper method is to invent a theory out of thin air with no evidence, and then invent evidence to support the invented theory, while rejecting any evidence that goes against their invented theory. An absurd example would be for me to say, I believe dogs can fly, and I expect you to prove otherwise. Dog worshippers do it all of the time. They tell us that any dog attack must have been the owner's fault, and provide zero evidence. They have made their minds up that the owner is to blame, so the owner gets blamed. Every dog attack is caused by a dog. That seems obvious. Its natural drives, behavior patterns, and whatever passes for decision-making in a dog brought it to the point where it attacked a human being. Human enablers are the ones who get the dogs into situations where human and canine paths cross. Human enablers are the ones who promote dog acceptance in our society, promoting dog proximity to children and other vulnerable people. Human enablers prevent dogs being treated like the pest species that they are. Once we properly blame dogs, then we can start to manage them and their human enablers.
I think that we are caged by our cultural programming, and that this is the most powerful imprisoning factor in our lives. Culture is a mass hallucination. And when you step outside the mass hallucination, you see it for what it is worth. Get at this, get at that, and then you're a player. You don't even want to play in that game. You want to reclaim your mind and get it out of the hands of the cultural engineers who want to turn you into a half-baked moron consuming all this trash that's being manufactured out of the bones of a dying world. Where is that at? Yeah, over here.